Hello, my gorgeous viewers. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I am so excited to talk to you about what your special ingredient is. I got inspired by Tarot with Tay. Love her readings, and I thought I'd kind of make a little twist of my own. So figured we would try this out. So I'm really excited. Got 3 lovely piles to pick from. I'm going to show you a little view of each stone. So this is pile 1. Gorgeous. We've also got pile 2. And last but definitely not least, we have pile number 3. All right. Feel free to choose whatever pile resonates. If a pile you're watching doesn't seem to fit, maybe try a different pile or try a different reading. I can't wait to hear about how this resonates. Please comment and let me know. All right, looking forward to seeing you in your pile. Bye. Hello, my wonderful group number 1. If you tuned in today to our reading, what is your special ingredient? This is going to be your pile. Here's our gorgeous little crystal, Amethyst. If you chose the Amethyst, this is your pile. I'm really excited about today's reading. As I mentioned in the intro, full credit of hearing this idea or like seeing this video from Tarot with Tay. I'm not sure if she's the first person to do it, but she's definitely the one who I was inspired by. So if you ever see this, you rock. But yeah, I kind of wanted to do my own take on what's your special ingredient? What do you bring to the table? What's kind of like your unique, little extra addition to the recipe, if you will. So what I decided to do today is a little different than other times. I actually decided to pull Oracle and Tarot cards, and I'm going to explain a little bit about what my intention was with each of them when I pulled. And then we can kind of talk about a little bit about your vibe. I'll pull a few more cards, but I figured let's save a little time on the shuffling and get into your reading. So I'm really excited. So I'm gonna put this aside for now. So starting out, my thought process was let's use some archetype cards. Love these. And let's see if we can identify your primary and then your I want to say secondary and what is it? Tertiary? Oh, I feel so smart if I got that right. Yes, your tertiary ingredients, if you will. What's the trifecta? So let's start there. For primary, we have Thief. And then for the secondary emotion, we have ingredient, but maybe emotion's relevant. Visionary. Love this card. I'm gonna maybe lay it out this way, maybe. Okay. And then last but not least, we have Child Eternal to kind of complete your ingredient, if you will. What are the 3 parts of that ingredient? I mean, before I even move forward, I think one thing I really got when I was kind of channeling before starting was I think you seem to represent a sort of, okay, I'm going to describe something. Hear me out. Hear me through my explanation, because this is where I'm going. There's a spiritual mismatch. And what I mean by that is, I think you are a spiritual lesson to a lot of people. A lot of people meet you, run into you, and either through hard lessons or relationships that you have with them, whatever it is, learning, being around you can be a really tough lesson for a lot of people. But here's the spiritual mismatch, and I mean this in the best way. What throws people, or what might make them, what I think makes it uniquely your energy, is that you do bring a spiritual nature to every relationship, even if you're not the most, if you're on this video, I have to think to a certain degree you might be, but you don't have to be the most spiritual person. I think what I mean by that is I just think that your soul is very powerful in some way, shape, or form. Your soul is has a presence that I've firmly come to believe that I think that we, all of us, I'm saying collectively, I think we can all kind of perceive or recognize a powerful soul that someone might have, even if we don't have words to put to it or don't know why we feel that way. I feel like there's some people who you just feel in their essence, like, man, this is taken, that like this is powerful. You can feel it, right? Okay, stay with me. What I think is really cool though is there's this childlike, joyful, young, like youthfulness in everything you do, this joy, and like this kind of, I'm almost imagining like a glowing orange orb where it's just like there's this constant light radiating from you. And so I think you end up being in a mix of these ingredients all together, a mix of, I don't even know what you want to call them, micro ingredients, co-ingredients, whatever the best word is. These three things come together and create a dynamic where you are able to enter situations that might be very heavy and actually be able to navigate. You're able to navigate situations very well. I'm feeling like, I feel like you are able to handle sticky situations, but there's a lightheartedness, there's a playfulness in how you approach life. Like, I feel like even when there's drama, I wonder if you're the kind of person where if there's drama, like, you know, listen, we know those people who say, oh, I'm not the problem, you know, and of course all these things keep happening and you're like, come on, you gotta reflect a little bit. But you are the epitome of like, no, I'm serious. Like, I'm not causing anything, or I'm not trying to start anything. Things just kind of pop up. And I think it's because you trigger people in terms of like what I think you have in your soul, in your essence. I think there's something just, you can, it radiates off of you, and I'm imagining the orb as like the heart. I just feel like if I were to like combine these two things, I think it's such a pure, warm energy that it can't help but melt your heart. And I guess, okay, I've been jumping all over the place, so thank you for your patience. The spiritual mismatch, I guess what I mean is that people see this childlike energy, this joyfulness, this, you know, like even when you look at the child eternal, when you look at the shadow attributes, right? It's inability to grow up and be responsible, extreme dependency on others for physical security. I think that this could be sometimes a projection that's placed on you of like, because you always maintain a smile, you always maintain this positive glow, this positive energy, and you always kind of just shake things off. If things happen, you get back up. There's a resiliency to you. There's just a lot of like brightness. I'm just seeing a lot of oranges and reds and yellows, and there's so much vibrance with this intuitive shell, with this soulful feel of like, this isn't my first rodeo. So you could be, you know, if you believe in past lives, you could be a very like a much older soul. You could resonate with that. But I guess the point is I think sometimes people will write you off, or people will sometimes like be like, oh, that person, you know, I think they could underestimate you sometimes, or vice versa. They could assume the worst of you. Like, I kind of feel like you might polarize people a little bit, but they're never on the money. I feel like people who try to make assumptions about you will never get it right, because you're smarter than sometimes people give you credit for. And I think because of a natural like exuberance and joy for life, that gets mistaken for being naive. But I don't think that's you at all. I think that you've only been able to build this sense of joy and cultivate this because you know what it's like to have to fight for that. Ooh, that got deep. Wow. I don't know why that came out. You've had to fight for your joy and your happiness. And if that resonates, if it doesn't resonate, you know, let it fly. But for some of you, I do feel like maybe you really have had to fight to be positive and have gone through a lot of things. And so I think when people try to make any guesses about you, I think you're the universe's way of sending a lesson to someone that basically tells them, don't make assumptions. The second you think you know someone, look at pile one and realize you don't. because, you know, if you assume this about them, you've missed a whole other part. And if you only see this part, then you've missed the whole other side of it. So there's always this piece of like, I think the ingredient you bring is you bring a lot of spiritual lessons in a very loving, joyful way. Like, you go through life giving out joy, you know, providing joy and taking it in, providing joy, you know, it's something that you kind of radiate, right? And you recognize it. And you also seem to have really strong spiritual protection in that way. So it's kind of like, I feel like your ingredient in that sense, I could see you being someone who in a group, like there's a stressful situation going on and you are like someone who's walking by in passing. And I don't know why, you like say something in the conversation. You're like, oh, like, you know, I don't know. You say something in the conversation that a random group of people overhear and that solves their entire issue. Like, there's this lighthearted way that you approach where you may not even realize you're actually like giving someone a message, or you're actually like, you know, potentially, you know, if you believe in that sense of like being able to pass along a message or, you know, tell them something that might be relevant to them or that they might need to know. But you are kind of meant to be a little bit of a messenger or a deliverer of those messages from the universe, but in this way that's playful and light. And so that way it's kind of, it's something that I'm hearing that like when you put an idea in the mix or when you throw something out to someone, you're extending an opportunity. I think for a lot of these people that might be used to other energies, like when they experience your energy, it feels so freeing, because a lot of the times, you know, people give advice and say, this is what you have to do this, do this, do this, right? And when people push people into options, there's something very like hands-off and just sort of like, yeah, like maybe you want to try this, or you don't even tell someone that they should try something. You just talk about what you've tried, and just hearing you talk about your life is enough for them to be like, huh, maybe that is something I should consider. You really help people consider things, envision past what they thought was necessarily possible. You know, I think there's also this message I feel like as well of like, you spread the wealth, you share. I feel like if you win something, you're passing, you know, you're passing it around with everybody, the people that you care about. It doesn't have to be everyone, but again, I just get this very strong feeling of an energy of just like this playful, loving energy with a wisdom that shocks people. And I think that this combination of ingredients might sometimes disorient, it might confuse, you might find that you have a lot of people projecting onto you, but it's because they're not meant to understand you. It's because they're not meant to fully grasp all your essence. It's just the way that you are able to package what it is that you bring, right? Whether it's a piece of information or just an energy that you bring in, or just an awareness, whatever it is, right? You bring something to the table and there's a humility, a lightness, okay, I'll see you later, a lightheartedness to it. And I think that that's what allows for people to be as receptive as they are maybe to your energy or to what you say. And you might find that maybe people may not like always take the things you say, you know, if you try to like tell somebody your opinion on something, maybe they disagree with you or something, right? But like down the road, something will happen and then they'll be like, oh, wow, yeah, Pile One did say something about that, huh? Like, I think you might find that a lot of people down the road tend to think back on something you said, and you might find out years later, like, oh, wow, oh, that resonated. Like, you didn't even remember saying it to that person. So I think there's that lightness, because again, I think what makes your ingredient really special, if I can just say, I think there's other energies that can feel too forceful or too heavy, maybe in trying to like give a piece of advice. But with you, it's just so light and breezy. It's just so like joyful, and it doesn't have to even be that you're giving advice. It's just like the way you live. You lead by example. You walk the walk. And I think there's something to be said about that, because someone might see this joy and assume that you haven't been through anything, right? Like, oh, look at them, all smiley. And it's like, no, I'm smiling because I know what's been taken from me, and I've worked this hard to get, like, to reclaim it and take it back for myself. I know how important joy is because I know what it's like to not have it or to fight for it. Wow, this is so deep. I'm gonna keep pulling out the cards, otherwise I'm just gonna keep yapping and yapping. So these two decks I pulled from were kind of meant to tell me, like, if we're asking about the ingredient you bring, let's say the meal. What's the meal? What's the dynamic that this brings? Like, what do these ingredients, what shows up after? So let's find out. No, rejection, number 65. Interest, 6. Lifesaver, 1. June 5th could be significant, or May 6th. The number 6 and 1, I'm trying to think here. That's his Aries. And am I looking? Okay, I was like, is that a 9? No, it's a 6. 6 is, wait, I got this. Virgo. Okay, there we go. Just had to think about it. And 6 plus 5 is 11, so maybe Aquarius. Just a thought. And then here we've got To the Sea, number 7. So that could be July, or Libra. We've got 31, Y. And we've got Deep Knowing, number 43. So April 3rd or March 4th could be important. January 3rd or March 1st could be important. Again, just synchronicities if they align. I'm going to save these ones for later. I'm so intrigued by this. Okay, so let me just say this here. I kind of want to look at the pictures while I talk. Okay. Wow. Okay. I think what's really cool about your essence is it's deep yet lighthearted. I said lighthearted like 15 times, don't mind me. It's intellectual yet playful. It's, you know, it's active and like calming. You know, there's something about it where it's just, comes in such a lightness that I think you might find a lot of people tend to kind of cling on, or you know, might sort of like get a little bit possessive or controlling over you a little bit, or like maybe friends that sometimes get a little bit like possessive. Interest and rejection. I think that's so interesting. I feel like there's this level to you where I'm getting like people that know, for whatever reason, they know they don't have a chance with you, whether that is just for whatever reason, whether they just know that you wouldn't be interested. But they're like, but I'm still a fan. Like there's something about like kind of, you know, enjoying I almost said pile 3. I don't know, pile 3 could be relevant. I haven't filmed it yet. Yeah, there's something about like people are willing to take risks when it comes to you, or like I'm almost, for some reason I'm getting like I don't know, there's a party that they normally wouldn't go to, they'd go to it if they thought you might be there. It's so funny too, because I was getting something as well earlier, and I'd written it down, and I just looked over at it as I was talking about this, which is a phrase that kept coming in my mind as I was shuffling before, and it was disarming people with your sincerity. And I think that's a really, really interesting idea, in the sense of I think that inherently knowing you is humbling. And what I mean by that is because in order for people to understand you, they have to understand themselves. And so when people don't fully know themselves, you're like an enigma, right? And they're so confused and perplexed, but like it sits with them and it's almost gnawing at them a little bit. And it's like, they can't shake it off. And I think it's because, and then they ask themselves, like, why am I so fixated on this person, or why do I think so much about this person? And I think it's because you are very complex. And I think that for every ounce, I definitely getting a strong feeling of Sagittarius. I'm biased because I'm Sagittarius, but I do feel like this pile could be also with Amethyst. I believe that's the stone for February. Correct me if I'm wrong. So someone could also have a birthday in February, but I do get strong like Sagittarius, even Gemini, you know, this playful Aries energy. And then this visionary, this faith, this intuition, this just sort of like inner knowing, right? There's this inner wisdom that you hold, but you are the kind of person that you don't care if people see that or not, because it's not about showing off how much you know. It's not about showing off how deep you are. It's about who feels like a safe person to be deep with. I think that's kind of how you operate. And I think that in a group setting or a one-on-one setting, your ingredient, dare I say, it kind of like makes people do crazy things. Like, I'm kind of imagining, we were at the sea, I'm kind of imagining someone just like selling their house and going on a boat, and like, why? Deep knowing. Like, you send people on a spiritual journey. And what's crazy is, I think at the end of the day, if you were to be asked like what you did or said, you probably wouldn't even, maybe in some cases you would, but I feel like a lot of cases you wouldn't even remember what you said, or you wouldn't even have like thought twice about that interaction, or been like, oh, I didn't think it. I didn't think that they thought anything in particularly about me. Like, I didn't think there was an issue, whatever. And it's not a negative thing. I want to say this as like, they are thinking so much higher of you. It's almost like after the fact, after they're in your space. And I think that it can cause people to kind of like act out, either cling on to you, or I could see with rejection here, also kind of like pull away and step away from something that they don't understand. I'm seeing also right now, as my eyes glance, 43 reduces to 7, 7, 7. And then this reduces to 4. This reduces to 11. We talked about that. But then double reduces to 2. I don't really know how you do that with the single digits, but so Taurus could also be relevant. Yeah, I'm jumping all over the place, but I just kind of feel like that's because your energy does that to people. There's so much to explore. There's so many fun things. It's so fun, like being in your energy. I love this pile one. I think you've got a really bright and energizing like feel to you, even if you don't feel like you're a high energy person. I just think there's something really optimistic and like happy and just pure about your essence. And I think it kind of causes people, I could see people just kind of like risking it all. Like, there's a feeling of that where it's like they're kind of just like willing to take a leap because they saw you take it, and or inspire them to go into this like inner journey, right? This inner contemplation. Either way, it kind of changes people in a really profound way. So even if you've had like brief interactions, I think you should know that your ingredient pops out. It's like, let's say if it was to be an ingredient, be like the hot sauce or the what would we call it, of the bowl. It's just whatever it is. It's like the second you taste it, you're like, whoa, like, you know it's there, but it doesn't have to say anything. And I think that's also something too, right? When you're around people that may always like need to kind of talk about themselves and talk themselves up and this and that. Meanwhile, you don't really have to. You're just kind of being you. Pile one, I love this vibe. Okay, I'm gonna just push these. Let's see, we're gonna push these over here for a moment. Let me just look at the camera. Let's do a little bit of rearranging. I kind of want to do... maybe I will do my little thing that I was doing before, because I kind of like the questions lined up there. All right, and then I did also pull some. I was just getting crazy with the cards here. I pulled 6 tarot cards. Oh my goodness, what is this deck called? It's the Unknown Tarot. Wait, I'll find it. But and then this is the Animal oracle that accompanies this. So we'll start first. Actually, let's start with the oracle. I pulled 2 animals again, just looking at your ingredient. Oh, the otter. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Here, we're gonna push this guy up a little bit. Okay. Perfect. I'm sorry if this is a little bit visually not ideal. This is what we're going with. Otter and snake. Huh. I love that. Yeah, you are ever evolving. Anytime people think they know you, they just know you from a certain era. That's it. Here we go. Let's do that. That's a little better. Okay. And then I'll do my tarot right here. So I just pulled 6 cards again. Special ingredient, if anything, could kind of give us more info. We got the Empress. We got the 5 of Swords. We've got the Magician. Clarifying, we have the Ace of Wands. Wow. We have the Emperor. Oh my goodness. Here, let me just shift this up for a moment. Okay. This should also almost be up. Oh, there we go. See, you're gonna watch me try to finagle with cards for a little bit. Okay. And last but not least, we have the Father or King of Wands. Wow. Extremely powerful snake imagery. Snake. Wow. Where to begin? Emperor and Empress. It is interesting though, because on the back of the deck for the animal, we got the swan, which has this mirroring image. So I think, again, there's a real mirroring quality that you might have. I think that you might also find, I think this is where it gets tempered out. So I wonder if you either have a earth, sun, fire rising, or vice versa, a fire, sun, earth rising. Just with this fact of, like, I think when we're looking at all this fire, this, that, there's something that tempers it out, and it's this groundedness. It's this feeling of, like, abundance and stability. So I wouldn't be surprised you maybe could have, like, a Taurus rising, or another earth rising sign as well, of course. But there is something incredibly gentle, yet strong, fierce, yet kind. It's just like this never-ending puzzle, and I think that's where the otter and snake, like, you are just a bundle of joy. I really want you to know that, pile one. You bring so much light and positivity to your surroundings, and on top of that, you are incredibly transformational. Now with the snake as, like, additional proof of that, snake here as well, you've gone through a lot of changes. I would venture to say you've probably had a lot of really defining moments in your life that have really kind of changed your trajectory. I would say that, you know, if somebody from your past wanted to check up on you, I'm sure there would be a lot of things that would be different. And I'm imagining that I think part of maybe what that ingredient is I think something that's special with your, what would I say? Special with this quality that you have and that I see in this is there's so much power. And it's not in a deceitful way that you hide it. I just think that there is this, like, grounded center that understands the bigger picture. And maybe this is something you used to struggle with, you used to have a really hard time with it, and if you're hearing this and you're like, I still struggle with this, I guess this is my way of letting you know it's a lot better than it used to be. Like, you've grown a lot in this way, so just know that. You've grown through a lot of growing edges and conflict, you know. Empress and Emperor kind of represent feminine and masculine energies. That is not gender specific. That applies to any gender. But the point is, I think that you've developed a strong core and kind of essence of who you are, which is why I think you kind of had a fire sun. But hey, you could be any sun sign, just if this is confirmation. But then the masculine side of you, the side that understands how to get things done, may have been born through and may have been had a lot of challenges. Like I wonder if maybe, regardless again of your gender and how you identify, maybe it's been easier to lean into your feminine energy, and the masculine energy, either maybe, I don't know if a relationship with a father is difficult, or with men in general is difficult, but there is something about masculine energy that being a source of challenge, and I'm wondering if maybe this is something for you to just be aware of. Take that if it resonates. I think there's also something incredibly like just bedazzling is the word I want to use. People don't really know how or when, or like, yeah, they're puzzled as to how you got here, but when they look at all the pieces, there is so much depth to explore and understand in you. And I think that the point in me diving into all of that and then going back to that spiritual mismatch is that the interactions or the ways that you might be impacting people the most, and you may not even realize this, might be in the briefest interactions that you have. You might also be someone who works in like a helping position, whether that's like, you could be like a teacher or work in healthcare. You could be like a literal therapist. But I think the point is, like, I think you have this way of just providing all of this depth, all of this emotional growth, transformation, like this transformative energy. It's like you just kind of drop it like little breadcrumbs. And I think there's a generosity in your spirit to do that. You may not realize you're doing it, which is where it's like, maybe that's figuring out what is the boundary. But I actually think you've got a really good grasp on boundaries, because I would argue, I'd venture to say that if you have this Emperor card here, especially with the Five of Swords, you've had to figure out how to do this in conflict. And maybe it is sometimes easier for people to see you as the childish, funny, silly person. And I'm not saying that you do that, it's deceitful, not at all. I'm saying that's more just, it's protection. And I think that's honestly not a bad thing. I think it's good for us to not always maybe show all of our cards. You know, some people do exist in that way. And I'm not saying that you're not, but I just think there's a lot of layers to you. And you don't feel a need to prove to people how many layers you have. You know that they're there. You know you've got this spark, this creativity, this, I heard sexiness, so I don't know if that could be relevant to someone. But yeah, there's just this like spark, this zest, this fun, and people don't know how, if they don't have the words for it, then they don't know what to call it. If they're insecure, they might view it negatively, but again, that's not your problem. You exist, you bring joy in the world, and I think that people know. They may not know how, but they're always going to remember you in some way, shape, or form. Like, oh, the girl at the cash register. Oh, the person who helped me when I fell. I don't know why I'm just getting all these scenarios where it's like you just helped someone in the middle of you doing your errands, or you did a favor for a friend, and it's like things that maybe where you're not putting a lot of emphasis on. I think that's where you shine the most, and people actually do keep track, and I think they keep track of the fact that you don't. Interesting. So there's so many layers here. I was trying to kind of approach it. Thank you for sitting with me as I was kind of parsing through it. This is like very interesting energy. I'm incredibly kind of intrigued by this. You know what, before I clean this up, maybe what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll some of my die. Where did I put them? Okay, I cannot find my planet dice. I don't know what's the plural or the singular. I can't find the other two, so we're just gonna roll this one. I'm just curious if there's any signs. We'll roll it 3 times, thinking sun, moon, rising. Again, this is not going to eliminate you if you don't have these. This is more just like additional confirmation if this can help anyone. Ooh, okay, Gemini. I just kind of threw it right down, but that's okay. Someone could have a Gemini sun, moon, or rising. Let's see any other signs. Oh my gosh, I hate when this tests me. Is this Scorpio? Wait, I'm gonna confirm. Hold on. Okay. Okay. Virgo. Virgo rising, sun, or moon. I was talking about a Earth rising, so that could be it. Ooh, and we have Aquarius. Somebody could have an Aquarius sun, moon, or rising. So with that, that's 2 air signs and 1 earth sign. Again, only like additional confirmation if that resonates. But again, a flow of communication, friendship, community, innovation. Just like, it's exciting to be around you. I feel like people might sense or know intuitively that you are on to, like, that there are big things headed for you and you're going to achieve a lot of things. I don't know. I think there's a lot of people that recognize like you're doing a lot out there, and people, you might find that people kind of stick around on your social media or stick around on your pages just to kind of see where you are a few years from now. I don't know. That might be relevant for someone. All right. Last but not least, I'm going to finish up with some tea leaf cards just for any additional confirmation / messages for you. All right, we're gonna pull 5. All right, Spirit for pile 1. Ooh, oh my God. Am I taking all of them? I'm only taking the one that didn't flip over. Okay. We'll continue. All right. Pile 1, tell me about the secret ingredient or anything they should know. Messages for pile 1, please, Spirit. Messages. Okay. This one's coming out. These 2 go back in. Oh my gosh. Okay, those 2 definitely wanted to come out. All right, so 1 more, please, Spirit, for pile 1. Oh my goodness. Let's see. These cards, I swear I can shuffle. It's just the circular cards that really get me. They just have no edges or anything. Okay. All right. Oh, I love to see that message. Handshake. A meeting with a stranger could be important. Do you see what I've been talking about? Was I not just saying that for the last 30 minutes? I was yapping for a reason. All right. Hold on. Let's do this. Okay. So let's look at all of our T cards here. Fire, strong emotion, passionate love or hate. Got shield, you need to defend yourself. Got dolphin, financial gain usually coming from something you did in the past. And cracked cup, dissatisfaction with life. Finished with arrow, and it's interesting that this fell right on top of the 5 swords. You are on the right path regarding some aspect of your life. I kind of see this as a story if I'm going to put this here. Okay. I don't know why. I had to put it in this order of the cracked cup, shield, because I kind of feel like there's this element of like you have had to defend yourself, you had to protect yourself, but with good reason, because you've needed to, because you've had circumstances where that's been necessary for your safety, for your survival, really. I don't know if that resonates, but for some of you, I really do feel strongly like I think you have had a lot of difficult experiences in your life, or difficult relationships, jobs, whatever it is. Like there's a really challenging circumstance that you've defended yourself against. And maybe there's also a call here as well of like, maybe that's something to consider as well. Or are there more times where you could protect yourself or defend yourself, even spiritually, energetically, like protect yourself? Are there ways that you could kind of like create a little bit of detachment? With this fire here, I do think, well, sorry, I'll back up first. With the cracked cup, I think you've had to therefore defend yourself because of difficult circumstances. Like this is where I very much feel if you've had drama, it's not your fault. I feel like this is very much a pile where, believe it or not, I do believe in these circumstances of someone who has a lot of drama, who didn't create it or didn't ask for it or didn't get themselves mixed up in stuff. It just happened, right? You strike me as that kind of person. That's not to say sometimes we don't stir the pot, but I'm saying that almost always you haven't caused these difficult circumstances. These are things that have happened to you. Excuse me. I think with strong passions, strong emotions, passionate love or hate, again, I think that while you have this love and light and this energy of this like just floating, you know, I think you could probably evoke very strong feelings, either people that kind of are like smitten when they meet you, or people who are threatened from the moment that they meet you, or they don't like to see how you move and how you operate. Again, I think that there's very much something in people knowing that you are on the right path. I think the ingredient that you bring into the world is one that people may not always know why they're following you, but there's something in their gut that tells you that they should. There's something that tells them that you're a leader, that you've done this before. And I could see this also being like, maybe you're younger, you don't have to be, or there's just something about you that might lead people to underestimate you in some way. And, you know, it could also just be your kindness, just your sweetness, your silliness, your joy. That obviously can be one thing, but I think there's just certain elements that I think people may not always realize. Maybe people aren't always aware of your power, but something within them's telling them, like knocking on them, like, hey, don't mess with pile one. Like, if you thought about doing that, don't do that to them. And they're kind of like, why? Like, why am I getting that? And the reason that they're not getting that, or they're not understanding that pushback, is again because they're not aware of how powerful you are. But there is something in them that knows how powerful you are and knows not to mess with you. Oh my goodness. Pile one, you have astounded me. I am loving this reading. Let me just say it's been so fun. I thought I'd try something a little different today. So please let me know in the comments how you like it and if anything resonated with you. I really appreciate you tuning in. I think I'm going to leave it here. And thank you so, so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you want to tune into more stuff. So thanks. Bye. Hello, group number 2. If you chose this blue Sodalite, I am still torn if it's lapis lazuli or blue Sodalite. We're going to go with blue Sodalite. But if you chose this stone, this is going to be your reading. So welcome. It's kind of funny. I was like just having a really hard time because there were some gold specks. And unfortunately, when I buy these stones, I'm really bad at remembering the names. So either way, I think what's relevant too is I did find out that blue Sodalite is called the Poet's Stone. And it is involved with throat chakra. So I think there's something here about a powerful voice that you have. I think there's something about an ingredient of yours that feels really powerful. So I'm excited to dive in. So as I mentioned in the intro, credit to Tarot with Tay, because I've seen this title on her page and I really liked it. And I don't know if she's the first one to do it, but either way, I thought it was cool. So I decided to do my own little twist on it. And essentially what I'm going to do is I decided to kind of look at the primary secret ingredient of yours, as well as our secondary and tertiary secret ingredients. And then we're also going to look at the kind of surrounding situations, if you will, that your ingredients either are part of or just sort of bounce off of. We'll find out. So let's get started. So we're going to start first. Let's put these aside for right now. We are going to start out with our primary, secondary, and our third kind of mix of ingredients, if you will. So starting out, we have detective. Let's put that here in the frame. Second, we have storyteller. And we have dilettante. Well, let me start here. There's this really interesting energy I was getting when I was first kind of shuffling for your pile. Let me bring over my notebook so I have it. Yeah, there was something really interesting about, I was really kind of enjoying the different facets of this and what this kind of felt like to me. So here's what I was getting. And again, these are just things that were coming to my mind. They don't have to resonate, but it felt like there's a scorpionic kind of quality with this detective. There's something, you know, it's that power of observation combined with that intuition and something all-knowing that you seem to have. But there's also a really, like, I feel weird saying this because pile 1 had a similar start, but I promise it feels like different energies, but it does have a similar sense where there's this depth and then there's this lighter side. How it shows up for you, I could see you having possibly like a Gemini or Sagittarius moon. You don't have to, it's just what kind of came to my mind. Another piece with this, sorry, let me make sure these are in the frame, is that I think that the ingredient, so I think your intelligence is pretty clear off the bat. I think that maybe you could get accused of being a know-it-all by people that don't know you, but hold on, because you immediately show this humility, and it's like, to me, there's a difference between someone who is like, oh, I know this, I know everything, I know that, I know that, I know that, oh, I did that, da, da, da. There's annoying, right? That's annoying. What's different with your energy is it feels like the reason that you know what you're talking about, the reason why you're able to make the observations you can make and have the intuition that you have is because you've been there. You have a story for everything. I feel like if someone were to ask you, like, you know, tell me about a time that you might have failed, or tell me about a time that you might have had a difficult experience, I think you could talk about a million things, the times it went well, the times it didn't. Like, you speak from experience in some way, and yet there is a novice-like quality to it at the same time. And let me walk us through it. How I see this showing up is, I think you could be a bit of a jack of all trades. I think that your energy is fluid. It's able to morph to the room that you're in. And then there's this kind of charismatic, relatable, self-aware quality where, you know, somebody could say, I don't even know, I'm just imagining like someone's like, oh my God, like I love your dress, or I love whatever you're wearing. You know, and you have a story for, oh my God, I spilled something, and da, da, da. Like, I feel like you've got a funny story to share about everything. You've got a good heads up for someone. Like, I feel like when you talk, people are like, ooh, we should listen in because pile 2 might have something really good to share. Like they did this thing, they know about this already, or like they've already done this, or they have some good advice. I think people might go to you for advice. I also think that I do sense like a Gemini moon of like a multitasking quality. I think your energy may feel a bit chaotic at times, but I don't think that's in a bad way. I think of chaotic in the Sagittarius and maybe a little bit Gemini quality of kind of bouncing around, but I do think that it's generally contained. I just think that maybe you bring a little chaos to the mix, and I think that's sometimes a good thing. I think that you know, or you always kind of have like a hobby or a new thing that you're into that always surprises people. Like, I don't know, you could work at like a really buttoned up job, or work somewhere where it's like very, I don't know, uptight for some reason. And then you tell them, oh yeah, I ride a motorcycle, and I, you know, I love to paint in my free time, which are obviously perfectly fine things to do. But it might kind of like surprise. It kind of like is like, oh, you do that? Like, oh, you also do stand-up? Or, oh, you also like do this or do that? Like, there's this quality of like, oh yeah, like, you know, there's always something that you're up to that's new. You're always kind of, and I think there's also like this is not a word, I'm going to create it. If it's not, I'm making it up right now. Mentorable, if that's a word. Like, you're someone who wants to learn, wants to grow. You see every failure as like another thing to add to the story. It's like another thing for the plot, right? You do it for the plot, and there's something in that is interesting And you also are very observant and you understand people very well, which is why maybe you keep your circle a little bit tight. And maybe you know, again, keep an eye when you don't know somebody super well. Maybe people that don't know you as well, like they may not get to feel your energy or get to see it in real time unless they really engage with you. And for some reason I kept getting this random thing where I was like, I feel like when someone might be telling a story, even though this is not related to your reading, but just something that came through, when someone might be telling a story, I think you would be the type to be able to notice discrepancies in a story, or like, oh, they added this little detail in this version, or like, oh, they didn't say that last time. You are definitely good at parsing out people's intentions. There's a discerning energy to you. And so I feel like there's a discerning energy and a do-it-all energy, a jack of all trades. So I think you definitely, like, I could see you being, I don't know if growing up you were someone who like did a lot of clubs, did a lot of sports, did all kinds of things, was very involved, but there's something about like, oh, you're the chair of this, and oh, you do this in your free time, and there's just like, you just have a million things that you do and are kind of like a side hobby, and they don't have to really be anything big, but I feel like people might see your name around. So I think sometimes maybe it's less about any, like, people may not even need to interact with you. People may already know you before they meet you because they've seen your name around a bunch, or they've heard people talking about you and they just like know of you, or they've heard of you in someone's story. Again, all of that to say that I think you've developed a reputation for yourself in the sense that you probably don't have to say or do a whole lot to, you know, kind of like make your presence known, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like you might sit in a room and be like, oh yeah, I was pretty quiet, I didn't really say anything. Just your presence alone is discerning. It kind of, I think, asks everyone to kind of step things up a notch or take things up a notch. You know, I feel like if people feel like they can get away with saying or doing certain things, I feel like around you, even if you don't say anything to them, they'll just know that, like, I don't know. For some reason, I'm just getting this weird vibe of like a classroom where like somebody makes a joke that might not be appropriate and they see you there and then they're like, oh, like pile two's gonna like think this of me. I don't know why. People just seem very concerned with what you think of them. I think it's because of the fact that you have all this experience under your belt. You have a story. If someone were to say like, you know, has anyone tried this? Yes. Has anyone been through this? Yes. Like you have a story for everything. So people recognize at a certain point, yeah, they have a lot under their belt. So I think that that's intimidating. I think that it asks people and it requires people to step up to the plate if they're going to talk to you. It also asks them to not be like threatened by the fact that you have maybe a lot of different little random skills or interests or hobbies. I don't know. There's a certain thing where it's like, if people try to be competitive with you, it won't go well. So people shouldn't even try. That is so interesting. Okay, so now I'm going to, I think, add a little more context. So part of what my idea was for this, I was feeling kind of, I don't know, a little silly, I suppose. I decided I wanted to kind of like, now that we've determined the ingredients, what's the meal? What's going on? What's the situation that your special ingredient that you bring into the world? What is it? What is, I mean, I'm not going to say that you cause circumstances, but what circumstances arise? So let's just see. Pulled a few things. Successful. We've got third party situation. We've got breakthrough. And that's the numbers 36, 14, and 10. October could be significant, or 10th sign, which is Capricorn, or 10th house, Capricorn. 14, so January 4th could be significant, or April 1st. March 6th or June 3rd could be significant as well. We also have Treasure Island, number 9. 9 for Sagittarius, or 9th month is September. Time to go. 4 plus 5 is 45. This could also be 9 as well, it reduces. Also could be April 5th or May 4th. And then community, 8. Huh. This is really interesting to me. Okay. Okay. So, where to start? I think there's a few things coming up, certainly. I think on the one hand, I think that, again, take this if it resonates, it's not going to apply to everybody. I think that there could often be circumstances where you may be the topic of conversation amongst couples or partnerships if maybe, I don't know, someone was interested in you, you're someone's ex. Again, only take that if it resonates. It's not going to be for everybody. It also could be like, I also was hearing like you showing up as the new employee, you know, so you're the new hire, and something about kind of coming in like, yeah, oh wow, like this person's got experience in all, you know, I'm feeling like I could see a coworker getting a little bit like, and maybe a little intimidated by you, thinking about all the ways that you've kind of like learned different things. Oh, you've dabbled in all these other little things. You've got a really interesting life. Maybe you've traveled a lot, but there's a privacy, selectiveness in your energy that I think, again, requires people to step up to the plate. I think that if you are ever in a situation, again, doesn't have to be romantic, it could be friendship, jobs. Let's use job scenario, for example. If you are in a situation like that, I think that maybe you are someone that might cause turmoil, but not in a bad way. I think it's just your energy. You walk into, you know, it's kind of hard to miss energy from somebody who walks in knowing who they are. And again, with Treasure Island, Time to Go community, like, you're not sticking around. So if somebody doesn't either, you know, catch your attention, or treat you maybe in the way that you want to be, like, you're good to go. You've got everything you need right here, and you know it, and you've got things worth protecting. And so I think there's an element of a breakthrough in the sense of, maybe you do ask people, not literally, but maybe your presence requires people to ask themselves what they think success means. Maybe they had a previous definition and then they meet you and they're like, wait a second, like, this person really defies this. I don't know, for some reason maybe they thought everybody they know went to 4-year college and you went to trade school, and I don't know, like, I'm just thinking of a scenario, but there's maybe different cases where it's like you show a different way to do things, you have the experiences to back it up, and you're willing to be a beginner, which I think, let me just say this, as a Sagittarius, sorry, I'm going to go on my, I'm going to go on my soapbox, but only for 30 seconds. I'm going to stop myself. I would argue that being willing to start as a beginner in something new is one of the bravest things you can do. It doesn't matter what it is. If it is drawing, if it's playing an instrument, it could literally just be going for a walk, whatever. Doing something that gets you out of your comfort zone and requires you to kind of have humility. There's a reason people stay in their comfort zones and stay in the same job for 30 years, stay with the exact same skills. And that's not to knock people who work hard and build skill sets in those things. But what I'm speaking to with you is you have the foresight as well as the really humility is the main word that's coming out. The humility, and you're okay with that. You're okay with being a newbie. You're okay with being the beginner. You're okay with starting out and not having a grasp of it because you've done that before. You've done it 20 times and you know how to do it again. I just feel like your story is a testament. And again, you don't have to sit there and rattle off your story to people. I think your energy, the ingredients of your energy do that for you. You walk into a room and I think it's very clear to people, you've created a community for yourself. You've created and cultivated a beautiful life for yourself that is like profound and special and unique to you. If I didn't add this as well, 8 August or Scorpio. Again, Scorpio, my goodness. But yeah, I feel like, sorry, I just need to. But yeah, I feel like you force a lot of people to ask themselves questions about how they've been doing things. Because for a lot of people, the thing that stops them from trying new things or putting themselves out on a limb is the fear of failure. And you just sit there and you're like, okay, yeah, failure is part of the process. That's what makes you better. And that's Sagittarius trait, a lifelong learner. I think there's nothing more cool or awesome than being someone who's always willing to learn, always willing to grow, always willing to develop and improve, and also okay with being a beginner. And so I think that you kind of create a breakthrough. Again, for who this resonates for, that's not going to resonate for everybody. This could be with other people in relationships, realizing maybe the person they're with is not a good match. A breakthrough of understanding. Again, oh yeah, pushing beyond your comfort zone. Exactly. Allowing yourself to be open and grow stronger through transparency. Again, taking charge of your life, having fun, being willing to take a risk, because I think sometimes you can get so paralyzed by fear. You are, and even if you don't think this about yourself, I want to be really clear, you might hear this and be like, really? I'm just minding my business, doing my thing. Just you existing, being willing to try different things, being like, oh, I'm going to try crocheting. Oh, I'm going to try this. Oh, I'm going to try that. You might consider that to be like, oh, I have a million interests and I never pick things up. Other people really do view that as such an amazing quality, myself included, to be willing to put yourself out on a limb where you are going to maybe be frustrated. And yeah, I guess as someone for myself who's a perfectionist and really struggles with starting new, I really have a lot of admiration for you. And the way that you're willing to kind of just try it out. And if it doesn't work out, it's a good story you're going to tell. Wow. I really love that. People may also ask themselves like who your community is, but either way, they know you're supported. And that could be in real life. It could also be spiritually. You have a lot of support. I think there's something where you don't have to say it. People already kind of know. All right, enough yapping. I've been yapping. Let's go to our, I pulled 2 oracle cards from the animal deck. And then I also pulled from the tarot deck made by the same author. So we'll pull that out. The Animal Spirit book. Hold on, let me grab the cards I pulled. I haven't looked at them yet. All right, so I've got the 2 oracle cards here, and I also have the 6 tarot cards that I pulled. So we're going to take a look at these. Again, these 2 kind of meant to just help us specify this special ingredient, and really hone in, with the 6 tarot cards also giving us a little bit more background and any other details that want to come through. You're kidding. You're joking. Guys, I love when this happens. All right, Scorpion. Yeah, really. Wow. Talk about a coincidence. A good coincidence right there. Just been talking about Scorpio all this time, and now we got some confirmation. Okay. Can we see? At least I just want you to see, like, generally. Okay, perfect. And then we've got, ooh, hyena. Just as a side note, you could like to wear a lot of black. Don't have to, but just thinking of that with black and white. All right, we're gonna put our tarot cards here. So we've got the Emperor. Wow, interesting. That came out in pile 1. Got the 8 of Swords. Got the 9 of Cups in reverse. Got the 10 of Swords. I don't know if you can see that. Okay. Here we go. Okay, perfect. We've got the 9 of Pentacles upright. And we've got the daughter. Oh, the daughter of pentacles. I love that. Just because I'm seeing it, you might be in the LGBTQ plus community. You don't have to be, but rainbow, always think of that. Okay. I actually want to, I normally don't do this, but before I even start reading all this energy, I want to read the descriptions for these two animals because I feel like these are two very misunderstood animals. I don't know if the message is going to be relevant to what we're looking at with the special ingredient. Maybe it's just something you want to hear. Who knows? Take it if it resonates. Let me grab that real quick. All right. So one thing to note with the animal spirit guidebook here is Scorpion and hyena are both considered fire animals. So I know I was kind of mostly talking about Scorpio, which is a water sign, but you could have fire in your chart as well. With the Emperor, that's also with a lot of the earth signs here. I am also thinking you could have some earth, but anyway, let's read a little bit about our Scorpion and then the hyena. Scorpion, passionate, competitive, tends towards isolation. The Scorpion is a passionate and determined creature. Their career is very important to them, as are a few select friends. Sometimes the Scorpion's heat festers, and they focus on an unresolved event from the past, usually a situation where they were left feeling burned. The Scorpion card says it's time to come clean about your feelings so everyone can heal and you can get back to your usual fiery but fun self. Interesting. And then we'll just look at hyena and see if there's anything. It's so funny that both of these are kind of self-reflective. So again, if this doesn't resonate, you can leave it, but this could maybe be a message for someone. Hyena, humor, wit, sarcasm. The hyena personality is a jokester and crowd pleaser, but below the surface there are unfulfilled dreams to be realized. When the hyena card appears, it's time to reflect on your reliance on sarcasm and humor to express your truth. Are you using jokes to hide old resentments in relationships or to mask things that you feel uncomfortable discussing? What would happen if you took your goals seriously? Don't know who needed to hear that. I know that wasn't really part of the secret ingredient, but let me say this. You may also be, don't have to be nocturnal. I don't mean you're nocturnal, but you might be a night owl, someone who likes to stay up. You don't have to be. I feel like your stories have humor and wit, and you've got a lot of charm, and I think that your energy is absolutely not to be mistaken. I don't think people do. People don't underestimate it by any means. If anything, they see you in all your power. They don't know what it took to get here, though. That's something I'm really seeing. And maybe that's why they know that there's this sting. They don't know how they know it or why. Maybe they do know your story. Maybe they don't. Take this if this applies. But I have a feeling you really had to find your way through the dark here. And you really did have to find your way through a lot of pain. This is Ten of Swords here. So again, that in tarot is really the epitome of like hardship. And then you see this tree, the Emperor, right? Like from that struggle comes out growth, change, renewal. Again, you have the story to back it up. You have the experiences to back up what you talk about. You're not just pulling things, you know. And I think maybe sometimes the special ingredient in terms of like how you're able to bring a lot of truths forward with humor, with wit, with you know, a silliness, a sarcasm. You know, I think that there might be a quality where, and I can say this too, I think when you have been through a lot of things, sometimes humor is a wonderful, wonderful tool. I think when it's used exclusively and you're avoiding the real feelings, yes, I think that the message, especially thinking about the hyena, I think that that can be relevant. But the way I see it, I feel like you've been in a lot of disempowered places in your life at different points, and you've come out of it stronger every time. Eight of Swords here. right? This butterfly in a cocoon. You felt trapped. There is a feeling of being trapped. And then there's the Nine of Pentacles. Again, creating for yourself over and over, time and time again, rebuilding for yourself. I think there's a wisdom that comes from just lived experience. And you could be young. You don't have to be older. You certainly can be, but there's just something about like, you know, a lot through your experiences. The Nine of Cups in reverse is interesting to me. I think, and then the Daughter of Pentacles, I think this speaks to this courage that we were talking about earlier, the courage to risk failure, the courage to risk things not going how you want them to, or for it to not be easy, or for it to be frustrating. The Daughter of Pentacles, I think in this deck, actually, it's its own, like, I mean, usually there's the page, right, in the traditional tarot deck. There's the daughter and son, I think, in this deck. I think it's really cool that the Daughter of Pentacles came out. Again, I view the Page of Pentacles, the daughter or son, you know, whatever you want to call it, a beginner, but a beginner who's curious and open and ready to build foundations for themselves. And so again, there's just this feeling of like, things have been upside down, but you get back up, and even if you take the smallest step, or you know, you might be known for like kind of jumping around between jobs. I don't know if you work in retail or customer service or something, but there's just something about like, when one opportunity falls through, you find another, and that's what you do. You figure it out, and you're not afraid of, you know, taking a role or starting a job where it's like less than your current role. Like, you don't care about what it looks like. And I think that's a really important special ingredient to bring to the table, because a lot of people don't have the courage to fail, don't have the courage to maybe face themselves really and truly, like, see what needs to change in order for them to be willing to grow. And I don't know, that's not to say everybody, of course. People are figuring out their lives in their own way. There's no judgment there. But I just think the way that you navigate the world fascinates people. I think people almost want to like take notes and be like, what's pile 2 doing? How are they navigating this? Let me ask them. Let me see what they did in this situation. Again, people want your advice. I'm hearing they want your recommendations for things. Like, they want your input because they can tell it's tried and true methods, but because you were willing to take the risk every time and try. And how many people can really say that? You know, I think it's a beautiful, beautiful gift. And I think these two animals coming out, especially with like the black and white colors and then the Emperor, I think that there's an element again, and maybe with this kind of time to go, you know, this cocoon, you've had to protect and defend this, had to be on guard, had to defend. So maybe now that you're not in that energy anymore, you're showing up willing to try new things, willing to put yourself out there, because you're not feeling like you're on the defense. I don't know. There's just something really cool about that. I think I want to, before I forget, we only had a 1 Astro die. I didn't know where the other 2 went. Oh my God, I just found them. As I say that, I was like, where did they go? Group 1, if you came from group 1, I'm so sorry. We had to just do 1 because I couldn't find them, and I was really not in the mood to keep looking. All right, I just want to see if there's any signs, could be confirmation or something for you. 12, so that is Pisces. 12th house is like subconscious, spiritual. Again, people know you're powerful. There's no doubt, and they can feel it. Gemini again, same as pile 1. That is so interesting. All right, let's see. You could have Gemini in the 12th house, so that would be Cancer rising. Okay, and this is Mars. Okay, so you could have Gemini, Mars and Gemini. You could have Aries in the 12th house. Again, there's a masculine with this Emperor. There is a go-getter. Like, you have built a foundation that you should be proud of, and you have faced so many uphill battles to get to where you are. So there's something about the foundation you've built, the roots you've built, and the fact that maybe you've had a lot of spiritual battles, honestly. Like the way I picture it, I'm like Mars and 12th house. I think spiritual, like that's heavy. Yeah, this is so interesting. Okay, I'm gonna pull out for our last little spread. I'm just going to pull some tea leaf cards, either any messages for you to know, or hopefully something like aligned with what we're talking about, but we'll leave it open for whatever wants to come through for pile 2. Oh, okay. For pile 2, please, Spirit. Special ingredient for, whoa, okay, we're gonna put that back. Special ingredient for pile number 2. Okay, we'll take these. I'm just gonna turn them over for the element of surprise. I got 2 more, please, Spirit. Oh, dolphin came out again. That's fun. Okay, if anyone feels called to pile 1, only if you feel called, but feel free to check it out. It might have messages for you. Lastly, here on the back of the deck, staff. You will be taken care of in difficult times. You are spiritually protected, and I think that your story is a testament to that. It's a testament to your ability to keep a sense of faith through hard times. Your faith might be very important to you, only if that resonates. Yeah. All right. First one, money path. Path with money is waiting for you to find it. Wow, successful. Again, you could work in an industry where you are very high up at your role, or you are financially very successful. Again, take that if it resonates, but there is something, either, even if you're not now, there could be an element of people feeling like, man, like pile 2 could really make it big one day. Like maybe we just keep an eye on them, because, you know, they could be very successful. Like they could write a book or something. Feather. Someone you know is undependable and insincere. Okay. Crib. Birth or conception of a child or enterprise. Target. A goal-oriented person. And dolphin. Financial gain, usually coming from something you did in the past. Again, so if that resonates, maybe there are some finances or something that you should know about that might be coming your way. Again, with this feather, there could be somebody, you know, that might be undependable or maybe not as sincere. But for the most part, when I look at this, I think the way I see it, is, I think that you also could be under, you know, embarking on kind of a new venture with somebody, partnering with somebody for business or whatever could be the case. I think people just know that you are destined for success. And I think also with this time to go, I kind of feel like I'm thinking of the song, by Sabrina Carpenter. Like, I feel so much lighter like a feather. Like, I think people are insincere. They fall off pretty quick on your radar. I think you know pretty quickly who's in your corner, and that is your intuition talking. And so maybe either your intuition is currently telling you something, or it's just a reminder of the fact that that's a bit of your special ingredient too, is your energy. People know you can see right through them. And that's only going to intimidate people if they have something to hide, right? So I don't know. But I really I think there's this piece as well. You might be really ambitious and like work really hard at your job. I think there's this interesting mix where you're goal-oriented and you seem very successful, but you're also like, don't take yourself too seriously when it comes to your hobby. So there's just there's a very nice Nine of Pentacles, kind of just inner balance that you've achieved. Again, this could be people's perception of your success. It's not to speak to exactly what your finances are, but also could just speak to the fact that they know that what you're putting out there is worthwhile. And this could be value that doesn't just speak to monetary, but just value. Like they know that you're successful. They know that you have created a community for yourself. So yeah, there's just sort of this lingering energy of kind of knowing like this person's on to bigger things. And wow, yeah, pile 2, you really don't have to say a lot. I think people already kind of have a feeling like they're already watching what you're doing because you're up to a lot of things, you're doing a lot of things, you got a lot of stories to tell, and it's more just, are they going to keep up? Wow, I really love this energy. Okay, I think I'm going to leave this here. This was absolutely lovely, pile 2. Thank you so, so much for tuning in. I would love to hear in the comments if this resonated, if anything did fit. Please tell me in the comments. And I really look forward to seeing you in the next video. Please like and subscribe if you want to see more content. All right, have a lovely rest of your day or night whenever you're watching. Bye. Hello, group number 3. If you chose this beautiful red carnelian, then this is going to be your pile. Today we are talking about what's your secret ingredient? So let's get started. So we're going to look at a few things. Before we even start, I will say there was something that came through when I had picked this stone out. So normally what happens when I pick my stones for a reading is I just sort of put a bunch of crystals in front of me, try to kind of sit in the energy of the pile, and then try to just pick a stone that feels right. And it's so funny because I kept being drawn to this stone for group 3. And I remember thinking to myself, oh no, I can't pick this pile because this stone is so much smaller than the other ones. Like, it'll be weird. Like, oh, I need a bigger stone. And I remember I kind of heard a little something in my head be like, that's the point. There was something about that. So I don't know if that means, I take this if it resonates, maybe you are on the shorter side or like a little bit more petite. You don't have to be. But also there's something about like, whew, your energy is like, bam, that it's like, don't mistake being small, or don't mistake size, or don't mistake, I don't know, reputation. I don't know. There's something about like, don't talk down about this little stone. So I felt like I got my own little check as the reading started. And maybe it's a message to you as well of just like, either, yeah, maybe you are small, or also, I don't know, I want to dive into these cards a little bit more, but there's definitely something spunky that was just like, whoa, like, don't underestimate, just because I'm small, I'm very powerful. There's just something about that. Okay. Anyway, so what I decided to organize this as is I decided to look at, these cards are representing the secret ingredients of yours. These 3 kind of combined, this one being your primary, these 2 being kind of the supporting or secondary and tertiary is what I was going with in the other piles. To just kind of get a sense of like, yeah, that ingredient. And then these other oracle cards I pulled to kind of get context on like, what's the dish? What's the meal? Like, we know the ingredients. Okay, so like, what's the circumstance surrounding these great little ingredients that you bring in? Like, let's hear more. All right, so starting with the primary one, we have Alchemist. Wow. And then for supporting, we have, oh my gosh, Child Divine. Along with, is that in the frame? Sorry, it's so hard for me to tell. Goddess. Okay. Wow. I don't know why I want to position you like this. It's just like, this is how I want the cards laid out. I don't know if someone here has watched The Office or likes That's What She Said jokes, but I thought that in my head. So I just thought I'd say that in case it resonates. If not, I'm just making a childish joke. Anyway, let me say this. There's a lot of reds, red. Again, with this like, bam, do not even, because the second I tapped in, I was like, oh my God, yeah, this is some powerful energy. What was I even talking about? Like, I was talking down on this, which is, let's just say, spectacular. I feel like a lot of people may have zero clue what to do with you when they actually encounter you, because it is like, and again, if you came from other piles, I just want to be clear, I think all my piles are beautiful and wonderful, and I just only bring up physical attributes if it comes up, right? And as it comes up, not speaking down to any other piles, but let me just say this: you are hot. You are hot. And depending on how you identify and like your body shape and everything, this may resonate, but like I could see like either curves, chest, shoulders. There's a body part that like nobody can kind of keep their eyes off of. And then at the same time, you've got such an innocence. So it's just such an interesting combination. I kind of want to dive in. The other groups, I really kind of sat here for a minute, but it's like I feel like I'm missing a piece of the story. So let's see. We've got consumerism. I don't know what my layout is today. We're gonna find out. We're just gonna figure it out. Abandonment. So this is 30, 29, and honor 13. January 3rd, March 1st, February 9th, September 2nd. March could be important. Also could be an age. Interesting. Let's pull these ones as well. Building blocks. Loyal heart. Oh. And fork in the road. We've got 28, 35, 13. Okay, I just have to say something. I have to get it off my chest because you are such a gem. I really want you to know that. This energy feels like, to me, if I were to describe it, as somebody who is like somehow, this very much feels like I'm getting this from an energy of people. I will say this is very much like romantically, I feel like there's a lot of hearts, there's a lot of love focused in that. You can kind of feel it. The red definitely makes me think that as well. Which again, take it as it resonates if it fits for you. But yeah, my gosh, it's just like you could have some Venusian kind of energy in your chart, so Taurus or Libra. Okay, I'm figuring out where to start because there's a lot that I'm really enjoying so far, but it's like I'm figuring out where I want to start. Sorry. Sometimes I just kick things. All right. This actually feels relevant, so I'm going to pull this out. This was on the back of the deck for this deck here. It says trap. Okay, I'm going to be really blunt with you. I think that, and I'm being so honest because I think I'm getting a feeling, if you're part of a collective that's reading my videos, you either know this already or will find out that I am... Okay, I'm back in. Sorry. If you are part of my collective, then it may be hard for you to hear compliments, or maybe you're hard on yourself, because I am. So I want to just say, if anyone does feel like that, if you're not, oh my God, that's like amazing and welcome. And I would love to know your energy better. If you are somehow not, you've worked on being self-critical, that's just always been something for me. I have Saturn in the 12th house, so yeah, really hard on ourselves. So I just wanted to, say that. Let me rewind again to say that if you're part of this collective, you'll know that. So that's why I want to be clear that when I give you this feedback, I want you to like take it in and not just like sit there and be like, oh, and if it doesn't resonate, it doesn't resonate, but really take it in, because I'm going to tell you something that is not fluff. I'm not giving you any, I think sometimes I have a lot of love for a lot of readers and a lot of people in this community, but I think sometimes it can be hard to know if when you are, when you're on the other end, you're watching readings, like, is this coming from an intuitive place or a place of anxiety where I'm like trying to put a certain outcome on something? And so it's hard to trust the messages you're getting. I want you to know that if you are on my channel and you've watched this, I'm not gonna make it up, and I'm gonna be real with you. Okay. Thank you for listening to that if you did. But anyway, I want to tell you that I think what I'm getting here about your secret ingredient is essentially, I think people are constantly in this internal battle when it comes to you, because they're always trying to figure out, is it too good to be true? Is it like, is this actually how this person is? Is it really possible? Like, I feel like I'm getting this stuff from the perspective of people that are interested in you romantically. If you're in a relationship, it could be obviously your partner or partners, but yeah, I feel like, what I'm getting essentially is like there's this level of sensuality, physical attraction to you, like genuine physical attraction, mixed in with the fact that you really do have like what feels like a heart of gold, honestly. Like, I think there's just this purity and kind spirit to you, right? Mixed with like this powerful kind of wisdom and magic to you. And again, so I think that can often feel, it reminds me, it didn't come out, but there's a card in this deck that's all that glitters. Again, because it is so hard to know for some people. I think the special ingredient for you is just, yeah, you come in with this charm. I think you just naturally exude it. I don't think there's a lot that you have to do. But again, let's go back to kind of like the special ingredient and what you should know about it. I think, there's two things you need to be aware of, and these are both good things and things to just be mindful of. I think one thing to note is, I really do get the sense, and maybe you may not feel this way about yourself, but this feels very clear to me, that you're very physically attractive, or in some way, shape, or form, people are drawn in to you, but it does feel like physically and kind of your external. I'm definitely feeling like there's maybe a lot of people that like look at old pictures of you on social media, or will like look back, will kind of watch your stories, things like that. I think for you, it's knowing who's genuine in their interest to get to know you versus who just wants to take from you and just consume, in the sense of like, really like actually honor you, right? Or are they just trying to like siphon some of that for themselves? There's a big difference, but I will say, I think you've probably started to identify it, but again, I think you have a secret kind of ability, right, to maybe bring a selfish energy out of people, or a bit of a desperate energy. Not desperate, but like, a bit of I can't think of another word, but I think something a little bit. You do stir up a lot of emotion in people, and I think you're much more. I don't know why. There just feels like there's something about you being so. It could be, physically, like a physical appearance or a career, or there's just something that's like really impressive about you objectively, that anyone who comes into contact with you is like, oh, yes. So that could be looks, could be something different, could be personality, could be whatever it is. There's something really powerful. And then there's like this feeling of like, well, they're also, they also graduated with honors, from whatever school, and oh, they also did this, and oh, they also, they travel and they're well read, like, I feel like there's this element of like, oh, they have all these sides to them, but like, I think you might be more grounded than people realize. I think people might get swept up in how they feel towards you, that they may not realize how down to earth and grounded you actually are. I feel like there is an element of like, sometimes you have to, like, truly that you do exist in that grounded and loyal energy. I really do love your energy. And again, I feel like it does force people to either have faith that, again, we don't want people doubting who we are. We exist in our truth and our worth and feel like we have to prove it to people. But I do think that you know, for whatever reason, I think that the special ingredient you bring in is you are a bit of a game changer, I think, for people specifically romantically. And I think that brings up a lot of it. There is a triggering process. I'm wondering if maybe you have like 8th house placements, or again, Scorpio. But again, what I'm not getting from you, any sort of like emotional intensity, even from you. You know what? This is reminding me. I was going to do this later, but let me actually just do it now. For the other 2 piles, it's funny. I had this pre-shuffled, and for whatever reason, I'm just going to do it on camera. But this is the Animal Spirit Oracle, and I've just been pulling 2 cards again. What's your special ingredient? I'm gonna be honest, for this group, and I'm not saying the other groups aren't hot, everyone's hot, but there is something objectively very attractive about you that a lot of people aren't doing. Again, this could be like your charisma. This could be like a sense of humor and intelligence. Like, there's just something where like people are like, oh damn, okay. Let's go talk to pile 3. Their secret ingredient, please. Pile 3. Tell me about pile 3's secret ingredient, please. Okay, I'm gonna take this one. Turtle. One more, please. Oh my god. That one really interesting how water came out. We're talking about how grounded, but there's emotion. Let's not mistake it. Oh, you're very intuitive. You are incredibly intuitive. Okay. Again, it's so funny. For group 1, I didn't feel called to read the descriptions. I really want to read them for this one. Both. Wait, is maybe a turtle? Is that? Maybe a turtle is earth. Let's find out. Oops. Oh, okay. Turtle. I'm getting very confused. Where the turtle? Ah, they're both okay. All right. Hold up on octopus first, so we'll go there. The octopus signifies a wonderfully perceptive mind paired with a lack of healthy boundaries. Unfortunately, this results in well-intended but messy relationships. The octopus entwines itself into other people's business and shares their own without restraint. They believe that's what it means to be close. If you notice after spending time with someone that you feel drained or uneasy, the essence of octopus is at play. Begin to establish healthy boundaries. Be patient and firm. It may be a very old habit to break. Interesting. Oh, let's go to turtle. Interesting. It is wonderful to be in the presence of a turtle personality. Like the beaver, the turtle has a strong relationship with the earth and water elements simultaneously. This helps to ground and connect them to the deeper truths of life. What were we talking about? And connect them to the deeper truths of life, no matter where their travels lead them. Turtle energy is behind all great writers and storytellers as they collect life experiences under their shells for later use. The most potent turtle energy helps us close all other books and begin to tell our own true tale. Oh, beautiful. Let me just say this. I think this comes into play a little bit with this, and maybe some of this. Sorry to switch gears, right? We're talking about your special ingredient, but I will honor the message that does come through, which is that, you know, recognizing when can I maybe pull my energy towards myself, and where can I be protective of my energy in a way where I'm honoring it? And like, when am I maybe, you know, I wonder if maybe you've experienced abandonment in some degree, again, whatever your life experiences might be. And sometimes because of that, or maybe that was in a past relationship, past connection, or abandoning parts of ourselves. I think that in fact, that's what happens, is we are yearning for, seeking and hoping to earn what we didn't get from someone else or something else. And it's genuine pain, of course, that you're experiencing, but somehow we keep almost re-injuring ourselves because we're chasing after something that feels so familiar, unfortunately, but isn't maybe what's best for us or what's most healing. So I think this octopus is maybe coming out to just remind you of the fact that, you know, I see with this child defined, like all these colors, this rainbow, I see that in this little brain, and it's like there's only so much that you have, right? This little phenomenal power and wisdom, and like just this like wealth of richness almost, I feel, with you. You know, it's not saying don't be generous, it's saying don't give it away to the first person, you know, or first situation, or don't do it, you know, to prove something or to prove your worth. Do it because it's genuinely aligned with who you are and what you want. Yeah. I also think, I didn't even touch on some of these cards. I feel like, you know, yeah, I feel like your special ingredient is, I think you force people to make a decision of some sort. People have to come to terms either with understanding themselves better. If they're someone who maybe felt threatened by you, they need to understand themselves better if they're willing to do the work to know why they're triggered by you. Because I think ultimately what anyone who's triggered by you, or that kind of creates conflict with you, is really just projecting from I think the fact that you really do shine as brightly as you do, if I'm being frank. I really feel so strongly with this energy. Like there's integrity, there's success, there's, you know, I just think you shine in a lot of ways. And so again, there's no question from this that you're sought after, but who are you giving this energy to? And again, keeping in mind these things of what's important to you, what are your values, honor, loyal heart, you know, like what you know, what are your priorities? And I paused because I started reading this and I'm like, let me actually read out loud what this says. The pursuit of honor has led to inflated stories and distorted truths. You place your worth in others' hands, allowing reputation to overshadow authenticity. Again, I think that people may find that, you know, you may be hard to get to know, but I think it's because you're holding a high standard. And I guess if you've been wondering at all, let's make it simple. If you've been wondering, should I lower my standards? Should I, like, maybe be a little less, like, more lenient on this? My gut says no, because I feel like you have every right to set the bar the way you want to, because I think you may have a lot of energy that is just not aligned. And it's also making sure that you're aligned and that you are in the energy that feels most authentic to you. Yeah, I am kind of obsessed with this. Let me pull out the tarot, and then we can also get our tea leaf for finishing up. All right, group number 3. Here is your tarot that I'm hoping can kind of just round out what we've been talking about and really just let us know, like, ooh, the star, what your special ingredient is. Okay. The Son of Wands, or I guess the Page of Wands. 4 of Wands, wow. Oh, the 6 of, oh shoot, is this wands or swords? Swords, 6 of Swords. The Page of Swords and the 10 of Cups. Oh my God, this is really beautiful. Well, let's just say this. I think that if I were to define how your kind of special, your little secret ingredient, how it pops up, I think you kind of just give like dream partner material, honestly. I feel like I'm getting at least, how many? I feel like at least 4. I'm not gonna lie, but maybe that's a high ball number, but I think that you've quite a few, if not at least 1 or 2 people, seriously, like, I think just, I mean, they might be romanticizing and may not know you super well, but even if they do, like, they just are kind of enamored. And I think there's something about just seeing, like, so many different ways that you show up as a partner and that you're supportive. And I think there's just something very, like, affirmative about how sweetly and, like, divinely, feminine, I guess you do. And again, any gender, this is not specific to any gender, but, and with the Page of Wands and the Page of Swords, I do think maybe, hey, if this is something that resonates or something that you want to receive, you may be receiving some communication or at least attention from people online that might be interested in you. But I think you should know that maybe there are people who aren't fully interested, but there are at least 2 people that feel like they genuinely see a future with you. And that seems like a rather serious feeling that they have. So I don't know. I just felt like I had to get that through. I'm seeing there's also been a lot of healing. I think you've really made it through a lot, through leaning into your intuition, through, following that. I think you've been able to, like, really maintain this sense of integrity that I think is what just really puts you on, like, the next level. Some people may put you on a pedestal or may idolize you a little too much, which, again, like, you want people to treat you like a human. But again, that's where it's, like, understanding, like, yeah, that you're the real deal. And I think that's, like, walking into any room, I think you are bound to get a lot of attention, whether you want it or not. And not in a scary way. I just think, like, it's worth noting that I think you're a really, like, cool person. And I want you to comment if you're pile 3, because I think you're really cool. Okay. Oof. I wanted to just get a few cards. Should I? No. Okay. Pile 3. I'm just gonna pull a few tea leaf cards here. Deeply intuitive as well. So you could be a water sun, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, or just have that in your chart. Don't have to. Oh, okay. I don't want to take all that. Let's put these guys back. I don't know why I flipped that one over. I usually was waiting, but we'll just do it anyway. Fly, a period of ill health, depression. Time to get out of a situation. Boot, increase your efforts if you want to achieve your goals. Good news, ear. Ooh. Oh my goodness. I just want to take this one. Okay. Candle, you will be shown the way. Wow, I love that. And heart, love, deep affection, and caring. Oh, I think that actually really probably speaks to just you and your character. When I see this, I feel like this is likely what your energy, your special ingredient, if you will, what that forces people to confront, that if they want to work towards you, they have to bring it. You have options, you have opportunities in front of you, and if someone's gonna bring that forward, they have to be emotionally mature, need to be working on themselves the way you have, carry themselves with the same level of, like, you know, just general, like, character, I guess. There feels like there's a lot of pressure on other people, but I feel like I just heard in my head, as there should be. So maybe that's just your reminder that you needed to hear in all of this, which is a reminder that you're hot as fuck. Sorry, I didn't mean to. And a reminder that, you know, it's okay to keep your standards high because they should stay high. You want people to meet your standards. You don't want to have to lower them so that people qualify. You want people to work for it, and the right person, I think, will. Right people will. So, wait, before I forget, we gotta roll our little astro die. Hold on. Let's see if there's any synchronicities. We've got Aries. We've got, I'm still working on my planets. Hold on. I think it's Mercury? Mercury! So someone could have Mercury in Aries. 12, the 12th house, Pisces. So it could have Mercury in Pisces or Mercury in Aries. So I will say those are two very different Mercury signs. So I would say if you have one or the other, you probably are going to have I'd probably have a completely different thought on your energy, but I think take what aligns with that. I think that's wonderful. Okay, I think I'm going to leave it here because we've definitely touched on a lot of different things here. Pile 3, I am obsessed with you, and please just comment. I'd love to know who you are and hear if any of this resonates. So thank you so much for tuning in. It was a pleasure to read for you, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day or night whenever you're watching. Thanks. Bye.